I mentioned in the last session that though words that we use in today's Carnatic music like swara, shruti, raga, tala, and many other words, these words, though they are found in ancient texts as old as 2 millennia ago, still the meanings of these words have probably subtly altered across the millennia, across the centuries, because these words, these concepts were articulated in the context of a very different kind of music, the kind of music that was there 2 millennia ago when Natya Shastra was written or Naradiya Siksha was written, where they talk of swaras and shrutis. That music was very different. One main feature of today's music is that what we spoke of as the Adhara Shadja, the tonic, the fundamental, that tonic is sounded throughout the performance as a constant reference point. The Adhara Shadja is heard constantly as a drone. Now, as I said, the tonic is important in all kinds of music, not just Indian, because it's a tonic which actually resolves the tension that any musical movement creates. For instance, da 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 da. Now this resolves the tension. As some people have observed, the tonic is actually a psychological state. Anybody listening to a piece of music will know when it has returned to the tonic. For instance, da 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 da. This is not the tonic. Da 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 da. This is the tonic. Even an untrained ear will be able to make out when the tension, the musical tension gets released, and that gets released when the movement returns to the tonic. In the case of Indian music, the tonic is a constant reference point for music making, even physically, not just as a psychological entity. And this is achieved by the drone. And now I am going to introduce to you a very important character in Carnatic music, and that is the Tambura or the Tanpura. Tambura is how Carnatic musicians refer to this instrument. North Indians refer to it as Tanpura. And there is a difference between the North Indian drone and the South Indian drone. Now, what is a drone? First of all, a drone, you can say when the AC is emitting this constant pitch, that is a drone. This is a drone. Anything that is happening at a constant pitch or that is unchanging by metaphorical extension, that is also called a drone. For instance, you can say that particularly boring lecture, you can say, oh, she was going on, she was droning on and on, because that is monotonous without any change in the pitch. I only hope that I am not droning now. So the point is, the drone is basically in the context of music. A drone is a note or sometimes a chord which accompanies the entire piece of music. That is called a drone. And in the context of Indian music, the drone is always the Adhara Shadja. The Sa, and we also have the Panchama, as we will see. But the point of the drone is to actually give us the Adhara Shadja physically, for us to hear it all the time. And this is provided by the Tambura, and by extension the Tambura is also called a drone. Now, as I said, it's the Adhara Shadja that the Tambura provides. Now, what is the Adhara Shadja? Just to remind ourselves, we have no absolute pitches in Indian music. There is no absolute Sa or Ri or Ga. Once you fix the Sa at any pitch at all, then the rest of the scale is fixed for you. Sa, this could be my Sa, or Sa, this could be my Sa. And depending on whichever I take as my Adhara Shadja, Adhara is the basic Sa, the rest of the music is, the rest of the scale is constructed. Not only that, it's on the basis of this Sa that we are hearing all the time that we intone the other notes, that we try to find the right pitch for the other notes. So that is why the Tambura is very important. So suppose my Adhara Shadja is, let me take a very, very popular, well known, very simple beginner's song composition in Carnatic music. This is Varaveena Mridupani. These are the words of this composition, and it is in Raga Mohanam, which we just saw last session. So depending on the Adhara Shadja, it will sound like this. This is my Adhara Shadja. Sa Varaveena Mridupani. This is how it will sound if this is my Sa. Now suppose I change the Sa, Adhara Sa. Varaveena Mridupani, or it could be Varaveena Mridupani. It's the same composition, only because the Adhara Shadja has changed, the actual pitches that are used are different. So this is the idea of Adhara Shadja. It is more than just the fact that it is, the pitches are shifted here and there. It really gives you the base, an Adhara, the support for you to intone the other notes. So when I hear the Adhara Sa, when I hear it, I am able to intone the other pitches, and that's why it is called Adhara. Let us now look at a Tanpura, a Tambura. As you can see, this is the Tambura that is South Indian. It is made in a place called Tanjavur. So it's called the Tanjavur Tambura or the Tanjore Tambura. This is made entirely of wood. You have the resonating, the resonator here, which is hollow, carved out wood, on which is mounted this long neck, and this ends in these pegs on which the string is wound. The string itself passes through two bridges on the Tambura, and we have 4 strings on the Tambura, and they are tuned like this. The middle 2 strings give the Adhara Shadja, that is the Madhya Sa, or whatever is my pitch. In this, I have my pitch is G, so that is what this Tambura will be tuned to. The middle 2 strings are tuned to the Sa, Madhya Sa, The third string is tuned to the mandrasa, the lower sa, and the first string is tuned to pancham, the fifth, the pa, and it is played like this, and this is how it sounds. There is a very, very interesting and fascinating aspect of tambura, and that is the bridge here. This bridge, as you can see, it has a curved surface. It is slightly curved, it is not straight, it is not flat. So because it is curved and the string passes over this curved surface, the kind of harmonics it gives out is very different. And if you will just watch and see what happens, what is the role of these strings, that is those that are placed here, these strings that are placed here, they have a very, very important role. Just listen to what happens as I drag the string across the bridge. At one point, the tambura will just come to life. That string, the sound emanating from that plucked string will just gain sudden many dimensions, and it comes alive. This is called the jiva. This position, this string that we place in a particular position on the bridge, that is called the jiva. Now, what happens here is actually to do with the physics of sound and harmonics, and C.V. Raman, Nobel laureate C.V. Raman, was one of the earliest persons to study this phenomenon, and in fact an extract from his, he published a paper on this. It's called On Some Indian Stringed Instruments, and an extract from this paper is at this link. He pointed out that the curved bridge of the tambura and the placing of this jiva strings produce certain harmonics which are very interesting from the point of view of generally prevalent laws of sound. Now, these are times when gadgets are replacing everything handmade, and definitely tambura is handcrafted, it is made by hand. And now today we have many other gadgets that are certainly more convenient to use than the tambura, but definitely they are no substitute for a tambura. Now what I use in most of these sessions, this is an application which gives me the tambura, an approximation of the tambura sound, and these are very useful for practice sessions and for short demos. This is an application actually. We also have electronic gadgets which can give you pitches, which can give you whatever pitch that you want. Something like this, either the tambura itself or some electronic or an application like this, this is an invariable part of Carnatic music, whatever it be, whether it is a stage performance or whether it is a practice session or whether it's a teacher teaching a student. Carnatic music or Hindustani for that matter, at any level of seriousness, it needs this kind of a drone support for it to happen, because as I mentioned, the intonation of these other pitches, of any pitch at all, it is this that supports that. It is this that nourishes, that makes it possible. So if I know that this is my sa, if I am able to hear it, there's a mergence that we seek with the Adhara Shruti, with the Tambura. And this is the beginning of the association of Indian music with spirituality. There is a meditative quality to the attempt to intone against the background of the Tambura. This is what the Tambura does, and this is why the Tambura is an extremely important character in Carnatic music.